Here we go. It is the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you as always by our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get yourself down to Dayton, Kentucky, and tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15%. Remember, closed on Monday and Tuesday, now open Wednesday through Sunday. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Chad.
Pretty fun BCJ pod tonight.
It was like almost like having like two different generational Mr. Bearcats, right? Like,
right. Yeah. Like Tony Pike is, in a lot of ways, still a face of the program.
He also will never call himself Mr. Bearcat.
No. Well, that wasn't a thing.
No, and I get that, and he gave it a name for his Mr. Bearcat if he had to name someone, but he's never going to be. He's humble enough to never be like,
right.
I was Mr. Bearcat. I'm still Mr. Bearcat.
It was Tony from the Ding, Mr. Bearcat. He has there's a campaign in their talkback segment to put Tony's name in the Ring of Honor.
We've talked about that. There's so many names currently missing, and they're going to have to play a lot of catch up.
And guess what? Tony Pike is one of those names.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are we doing? Like, the fact that the Bengals are right now more in tune with the fans as far as Ring of Honor goes than the Bearcats, what are we doing?
I will also say, UC's been working on there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the past 12 months.
But this is well overdue.
Yeah. Put Tony's damn name in the Ring of Honor. Put Royer's damn name in the Ring of Honor.
Marty Gilliard. Just saying.
Also, I know we said this like 5 times on the BCJ pod. I can't wait for Monday nights. I'm so excited.
It's going to be a ride.
Every Monday night, if you're watching this show and you're just starting, we've added a bunch of new folks. Thank you. Like, subscribe, become a part of the BCJ community, both on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, at BearcatJournal.com, now TikTok. Also on TikTok and Instagram. What are we doing? Like, we're like an actual operation now. This feels like a lot.
Well, and listen, I totally can relate with the general populace of Bearcat Journal. If you feel like you can't keep up, neither can I.
Yeah, neither can we. Neither can we.
I understand. Look, I understand the time codes are a little behind right now. Bear with me. We have a baby that I'm going to be by myself with in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah. The mama's going back to work, and Aaron's gonna go a lot more gray real fast.
We are working into not eating from mom all the time.
So hanging out with dad a little bit more.
We took a 3-hour nap today, just her right here. It was those moments, man.
And nobody took her from you?
No, it was no. She went upstairs and took a coma. Yeah. I'm not sure that she even had a pulse during that 3 hours. I think she just went into full hibernation mode. Do not disturb.
Right. I remember those days. It was
good for everyone.
All right, let's get into it. You've got a theory tonight.
I do.
So we'll let you go first.
A little bit of one. I don't know. There's been a poll system running through Fox's college football, where Cincinnati did lose to Iowa State, but Cincinnati was one of the last 8 teams in their popularity poll, and the other 7 teams that Cincinnati was surrounded by were all future Big 12 teams. So you have 8 teams of the final 64 in this bracket system that were all future Big 12 teams. And it got me, I was looking through the comments, and somebody had mentioned, like, oh, maybe Fox is trying to just get the pulse on what the Big 12 fan, fan engagement is really all about, and to see what, like, perhaps if this would reflect in what the TV ratings might look like on a new Big 12 deal. And maybe Fox is trying to do this without just coming forthright out and just talking to the commissioner or trying to work with schools and all of that. Like maybe this is how they're reading the pulse of the fandom. What are your thoughts on any
I
of that?
think what's more likely is it was just an internet poll heading into the season.
You don't think there's any shot that any of this means anything and that they couldn't be trying to read the room for
When it comes to like, did they do this media poll started by somebody that just works in the social media department with the ulterior motives that like the final 8 were all going to be current or future Big 12 schools?
who saw that coming?
Nobody. That's kind of my point.
I doubt anyone saw that coming, but at the same time,
I don't think anybody at Fox was like,
but
let's do this.
Once you
get to end up
once you get to the Elite 8 and they're all future Big 12 schools, are you scratching your head a little bit? Like maybe there's something to this.
I don't think so, because I don't think like social media is a great representation of like what TV viewerships are necessarily going to look like. I just think you have a lot of really engaged Big 12 fan bases right now.
It's a good thing.
It's a great thing. I just don't know if I'm ready to go tinfoil hat on it.
Oh, I'm never afraid to pull that thing out of my back
pocket. I know, like you've got, it's like it's worn. Like you don't even have to like shape it anymore. You just
it fits.
It fits, right? Like you've worked it into like, you know, like my BCJ hat from 513shirts.com that you can see
the sweat spots.
Like it's been through camp.
For sure.
It's a camp hat. Like this is what a camp hat looks like. You can go to 513shirts.com and go to partners, drop down to Bearcat Journal and get yourself
plug.
One of these or one of these. You can get yourself one of these too. But I mean, if I got a chance to shamelessly self-promote, yeah, I'm absolutely gonna do it. Yeah, I just don't know that there was like an ulterior motive when it happened. I think it's really cool that like now that we're on the other side of it, like, okay, we have a pretty good gauge that the Big 12 fan bases are legit, and that can be a really good thing. I just don't know if like it's a TV, something that impacts TV.
And I wish I could remember which analyst it was that was breaking down some different things today, but he was breaking down that he thinks that 4 schools are going to leave the Pac-12, including Oregon, and the 4 corner schools are still the ones that are being paired up with the Big 12, but the Pac-12 is apparently, according to this analyst,
they lose 8.
Well, if they lose 1, I think that you start to see everything crumble
apart. Yeah,
everything's going to crumble. If any single school leaves, I think that's going to be a bad thing. We also saw in the news today that Oregon is feeling the waters, dipping a toe in with the Big Ten, trying to see what's up.
Do you like me? Yes, no. Like
circle.
Circle
1.
Circle 1.
I
also look. Jason Shearer might be my favorite follow on Twitter.
He is a friend of the show. Well, not this show, but
one of our shows.
The BCJ.
He's a friend of the network.
The network.
That's what we call it now. It's the network. It's friend of the network.
Ever evolving.
maybe even
too fast. Too fast.
Well, we're trying to get we're giving everything a test run before next year so that we can streamline what works.
We have to go full bore this season so we know how to correctly operate everything next season.
But Jason Shearer is
a dude.
Relentless. Filed Freedom of Information Act requests at every Pac-12 school to challenge George Kliavkoff, saying he's got emails from schools where the Big 12 was pursuing them and all the Pac-12 schools basically responded and said, we don't have any. There's no emails that exist that we can give you with that information. Bang! Like he's one of us. One of
And
us.
you know that's
One
bullshit,
of
right?
us.
Like they
Right.
found a loophole where they don't have to give it to him because obviously there's going to be, if Kliavkov's saying that he is saying that he has these emails, then they came
Or
from somewhere.
those emails don't exist and he's lying to make the Big 12 look bad.
One or the other. One or the other.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the other topic of the day that I wanted to hit, Aaron.
Okay.
Boom. Chris Vanini, also friend of the network.
He's been on PTP. He's been on BCJ.
He's been with me on radio.
Did we have him on BVP?
Times.
We may have even had him on BVP. We may have even had him on BVP. Because I know Brent and I both met him up in the press box.
Yeah. He put out his the Athletic put out their tiers of college football coaches. Mm-hmm. And they basically do all of the coaches in FCS Football Championship Series football.
Sure.
1A, Nick Saban.
Who's making $21,000 a day with his new extension, which is 21,000 plus. It's absurd.
I just checked our revenue. This YouTube channel for the month of August has been making like $21. She's got to add a couple zeros.
Just 1,000% more than us. No big deal.
It's like a couple zeros. Like, and it's fine. It's fine. 1B, list 1B. Ryan Day, Luke Fickell, Jimbo Fisher, Jim Harbaugh, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, Kyle Whittingham. Aaron. Luke Fickell is now genuinely considered in the elite tier of coaching after 5 seasons running this program. It is remarkable.
I don't think that that's the way that you stated that. I don't think it's just now that he's considered in the elite. I think
no, he's been taking them to the playoff last year.
That's what did it, clearly. But at some point during the season last year, I think that's when that transition started. He won the Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year.
Like 9 of them. There's 11 National Coach of the Year awards. I think he won 9.
Didn't we say that that's like the All-American has the
consensus.
The consensus.
So
he's the consensus head coach. Right.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's amazing to see a guy who his family, what his beliefs and core values are, mesh with the school here at Cincinnati. He didn't use it as a stepping stone. He's had opportunities. They have not been from small schools, both the ones that are known and unknown for that matter. I mean, he's certainly had some outs, and instead he has doubled down, and I still don't see him going anywhere until until the Godfather deal comes in.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe an NFL team just decides it worked for Vrabel. These two guys are best friends.
But is that something that he believes that is, again, where his values and needs and wants
at some point there has to be
sure,
right?
I mean, maybe
there has to be maybe. I don't know. I don't think
Ask
in
Amy.
Those terms. Yeah, I don't think in those terms because this ride is going to last as long as it lasts. I have no idea. I'm going to enjoy every damn minute of it. And when you here's my advice to fans. When you let yourself start regularly worrying about that, it takes away from
the fun
of it.
Yeah.
Because you're always constantly worried about when the other shoe is going to drop. The shoe is going to drop. It always drops. There's nobody that's 100 and, Vince Lombardi is not 137 years old coaching the Green Bay Packers.
Saban left LSU and got embarrassed at Miami before going back to Alabama.
Something always happens.
Something will give at some point in time, sure.
But that might be 12 years from now. It might be 15 years from now.
It might be next year. Who knows?
It might be. Who knows? Just enjoy. Here's what Vanini talked to, like, a prominent agent that handles coaches, represents coaches. And he said, ask point blank who the best coach in the country other than Saban is. The agent said, if I had to pick one, I'd go Fickell. That guy got Cincinnati into the CFP.
Now, that said, I don't know that you're necessarily going to be able to motivate NFL players with NFL dollars in the same way that you motivate collegiate players.
Yeah, okay, but you're taking one little thing I said and turning it into the
I'm making it that. That's fine. I'm not getting mad.
No, you're not. You took a 3-hour nap today.
I did.
That's why you've been mad. You haven't slept in a month.
I've tried to say.
You're not mad today because you slept a little bit. Even if it was just 3 hours, it makes you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
But my point being, there is a national article on what has become the place to go for journalism, sports journalism.
The Athletic.
The Athletic. I mean,
my subscription just re-upped yesterday.
Hopefully you can afford the 50 cents that they charge.
No. $72 for the year.
Wow. But anyhow, they kind of set the standard for what's being talked about in the media.
Yeah.
And this has now been introduced into the conversation. Luke Fickell is the second best coach in the country behind Nick Saban in 5 years.
At least according to one agent.
That's what I said. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it's been introduced into the lexicon. It is. Yeah. It's on The Athletic about the best head coaches in college football.
And he's probably not the only one who thinks that. Not to say that everyone thinks that, but he's probably not the only one who thinks that.
I'm just saying, for the rest of our lives, we're going to look back at this 5-year window and however long this window is open and go, you believe we got to ride that ride? Can you believe we got to experience what Cincinnati is experiencing right now, what they're in the middle of right now?
I also hope it's a glimpse of what's to come, regardless of who's at the helm.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think you've now opened yourself with the walk into the Big 12. You now opened yourself to coaches not coming here as a stepping stone, but rather coming here as a destination type job. Yeah. So
thanks to Luke Fickell.
You can get to the highest of heights here in Cincinnati.
That's the amazing thing that he did for this program to get to this point where he's being mentioned in the same breath as Dabo and Lincoln Riley and Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh and, the guys that are at the top of the game. I said this tonight on the BCJ pod. When he gets done with this year, he will have been at UC longer than Mark D'Antonio and Brian Kelly combined.
Bananas.
It's insane. But from D'Antonio to Kelly to Butch, they created the narrative that this was a stepping stone job.
Correct.
Because they were always looking
for the next thing. Mm-hmm.
Luke is the one that has now created the narrative that you can plant your flag and you can get as high as being mentioned in the same breath as Nick fucking Saban amongst the best coaches in the sport.
Perhaps worth mentioning, his twins are now both 6'2" and playing offensive line and defensive line at Muller.
This is not to take anything against Landon. those two boys look like athletes.
Again, perhaps worth mentioning that they're doing something.
And then the two youngest are just now getting into the sports side of things as like I think first or second graders.
Good. Keep them all in Cincinnati. Keep them all here.
Pipeline flowing.
I'm not leaving.
All right, we've hit our 20 minutes, but that's just like that's what caught me was like now there is conversation. Somebody has entered into the ether. Luke Fickell, best coach in America, behind Nick Saban. That's a heady place from December 10th, 2016. That's all I can say about that. We'll see you tomorrow night. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See it!